The artifact chamber of the Galactic Archives was a cathedral of silent reverence, its crystalline walls refracting the light of 1,000 distant stars. Dr. Sarah Chen stood before the shattered crown of Veltharion, her breath fogging slightly in the temperature-controlled environment. Around her, a delegation of Velthari diplomats watched with their luminescent eyes, their chitinous bodies perfectly still. "Please, Dr. Chen, be careful," Ambassador Krathix warned, his mandibles clicking nervously. "That relic is older than your entire species. It has been dormant for 7 million cycles." Sarah adjusted her glasses and smiled. "I've handled plenty of ancient artifacts, Ambassador. I know what I'm doing." She reached toward the crown's jagged edge, intent on taking a closer scan with her quantum analyzer. The metal, if it could even be called metal, seemed to shimmer with an inner light that defied conventional physics. Her fingers traced the intricate etchings, symbols that predated every known language in the galaxy. Then it happened. A microscopic shard, invisible to the naked eye, sliced through her latex glove. Sarah hissed and jerked her hand back. A single drop of blood welled from her index finger, hanging suspended for a heartbeat before falling. The droplet struck the crown. The universe held its breath. The blood spread across the ancient metal like liquid fire, but it wasn't red. It glowed with an ethereal purple luminescence, branching out in fractal patterns that seemed to follow the crown's forgotten etchings. The chamber erupted in blinding light. Every Velthari in the room collapsed instantly, their bodies hitting the floor in perfect synchronization. But they didn't fall in fear or pain. They fell in supplication, their limbs arranged in the ancient posture of absolute reverence. Ambassador Krathix's voice emerged as a reverent whisper, barely audible above the humming energy now emanating from the crown. "Impossible. The heirs have returned." Sarah stumbled backward, clutching her bleeding finger, her mind racing. What's happening? I don't understand." The crown began to reconstruct itself. Shattered pieces that had been separated for eons floated upward, drawn by invisible forces, clicking back into place with sounds like crystalline bells. The purple light intensified, and suddenly Sarah's vision exploded with information. Not in words, but in pure understanding that bypassed language entirely. She saw the history of the progenitors, the first civilization that had seeded life across the galaxy billions of years ago. She saw their war against the entropy plague, a force of pure chaos that sought to unmake reality itself. She saw their final sacrifice, their transformation into something beyond physical form, but not before ensuring their legacy would continue. They had scattered their genetic essence across 1,000,000 worlds, hidden in the most unlikely places, waiting for the right moment to awaken. They had encoded it into the most adaptable, most stubborn species they could engineer. Species that would thrive in any environment, that would refuse to accept defeat, that would reach for the stars even when the stars seemed impossibly far away. Species like humanity. Your blood. Krathix remained prostrate, but his voice carried across the chamber. It carries the royal marker. The purple fire. Only the direct descendants of the progenitors possess it. We have searched for 7 million cycles, examined 10,000 species, analyzed billions of genetic samples. And here you stand, on a world we classified as recently emerged, bearing the sign we thought lost forever. Sarah's hand trembled. "But we're human. We evolved on Earth. We're not even a Type 2 civilization yet. We've barely left our own solar system." Another voice spoke, deeper, resonating from the now complete crown itself. It spoke in every language simultaneously, ancient and terrible and beautiful. "The worthy are not chosen by their advancement but by their spirit. Humanity carries the flame because humanity refuses to let it die." Memories that weren't hers flooded Sarah's consciousness. She saw human history through new eyes. Every struggle, every achievement, every impossible victory against overwhelming odds. She saw cave dwellers discovering fire during an ice age. She saw farmers building civilizations in hostile deserts. She saw scientists splitting atoms and escaping gravity's embrace despite having technology that should have made such feats impossible for centuries yet. She saw what made humanity special. Not superiority, but persistence. Not strength, but adaptability. Not wisdom, but the stubborn refusal to accept the word impossible. "You are the heirs of will," the crown spoke again. "Forged in hardship, tempered by adversity, unbroken by the cosmos itself. When the entropy plague returns, And it shall return. You will stand as your ancestors did, not because you are the strongest or wisest, but because you are too stubborn to kneel before oblivion. The purple light began to fade, retreating back into Sarah's finger. The wound sealed itself, leaving not even a scar. The Velthari remained prostrate, waiting for permission to rise. Sarah looked at her hand, then at the assembled aliens, then at the crown now hovering before her, whole and perfect after millions of years of fragmentation. She thought about the implications, about what this meant for humanity, for Earth, for the galactic community that had treated humans as newcomers, as children playing at civilization. Finally, she found her voice, and when she spoke, there was steel beneath the confusion. Get up. All of you, please. I don't know what this all means yet, but I'm not your queen or your goddess. I'm a scientist who just wanted to study an old crown. Krathik slowly raised his head, his luminescent eyes wide with something between terror and hope. But Dr. Chen, you must understand what this means. The ancient prophecies, the progenitor protocols, the defensive pacts, they all activate now. Humanity is no longer a minor species on the galactic periphery. You are the blood-right heirs. Every species that signed the Eternal Compact is bound to serve and protect your kind until the final war is won or lost. Sarah closed her eyes and took a deep breath. Somewhere far away, on a small blue planet orbiting an average star, 7 billion humans went about their lives, completely unaware that everything had just changed. When she opened her eyes again, there was determination in her gaze, the same determination that had driven humanity to survive ice ages and plagues, to build wonders and reach for the stars. Then I guess, Sarah said quietly, we better figure out what's coming and how to stop it. Together. Because if there's one thing humans have learned, it's that we're better when we work as a team. Let's start with you telling me everything you know about this entropy plague. The crown pulsed with approval, purple light dancing across its surface like distant auroras. The heirs had returned and the galaxy would never be the same.